So today is a wonderfully sunny day and I am inside filming you a video. I am going to do the Highstreet / drugstore foundation. I say Highstreet / drugstore because in America you guys call it a drugstore and over here we call it just high street shops or pharmacies. So I just thought I would address both so you know exactly what I'm talking about. I am typically somebody who spends a little bit more on foundation and I don't tend to shop for foundations in, say, Boots or Superdrug. I think I'm sort of stuck in the mindset that you get what you pay for, and I guess in a lot of circumstance you do get what you pay for. But I wanted to try out some cheaper alternatives and see if that was just a load of old tosh. Went into Boots and Superdrug. This is me walking into Boots and Superdrug. And I found it extremely difficult to find foundations in my shade. The good thing about going to a higher end brand is that they'll match you at the counter and they do all that for you. If you're going to go to the standalone makeup stands in Boots or Superdrug, you're basically on your own and you need to figure out which colour you're going to be before you buy it. I actually kind of left there thinking I've probably got all these foundations in the wrong shade, and if you're in America that's fine because I'm pretty sure most of the time you can return your cosmetics, whereas here in the UK we cannot do that at all. In the end I just came out with the nearest that I thought to my skin, so not a massive range, rubbish lighting, rubbish mirrors, never pump on the back of your hand, that doesn't help, you need to put it on your face, but when there are hardly any mirrors and nothing to wipe anything off your hands, it's not a fun experience. I also just want to quickly say as well that these foundations that I've purchased were a complete random choice. Possibly some of the foundations I'd already seen reviews on, or things I've never seen reviews on or ever heard anything about. So I just picked them up and I didn't really know what to expect, to be honest. My skin type is combination to normal, I guess. I have normal cheeks, normal forehead, oily, dry down the top of my nose, oily around the side of my nose and oily on my chin. So that's the sort of skin type I'm working with. Although this is what I think of the foundations that I'm sharing with you, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work for your skin type or that it's something that you might be interested in, but I've tried to cover like quite a broad spectrum, so I hope I've managed to influence any purchases or help you in some way. Anyway, the first one that I have is the Bourjois Healthy Mix Serum. The shade I have in this one is beige, light beige 53. I have tried the Bourjois Healthy Mix Foundation and I absolutely hated it. It stuck to any dry patches of skin on my face and I don't really have particularly dry skin. And it didn't last very long and it went patchy, so I didn't like that one. And then when they came up with this one I was quite intrigued to see if it was similar or better. This is a gel foundation, so it's a slightly different formula. The MAC Studio Sculpt, which I absolutely love, is also a gel formula, though they are nothing alike. It claims that it lasts for 16 hours, although I know no foundations that last for 16 hours. On my skin anyway. I would say that this foundation offers a light to medium coverage. It is nowhere near heavy. In fact, I'd say it's probably more on the light side. Like, I would possibly advise that you buy this if you have already have quite nice skin, or you've got no blemishes, or you prefer something a lot lighter. I tend to wear this on good skin days. It does look really healthy because it gives you a sort of dewy finish. I possibly wouldn't advise you get this if you have mega oily skin. So I would definitely say this is good for dry skins and if you have quite clear skin in the first place. This foundation is available in Boots and Superdrug and it is £10.99, which is kind of on the higher end of the scale, I guess. So I'm going to give this foundation a 2.5 out of 5, which is midway point because I still think it's quite nice. It just didn't really do it for me, I guess. I was expecting a lot more out of it and I was a little bit disappointed, so 2.5 that one. Next one is the Rimmel Wake Me Up foundation, which I mentioned in my April favourites, and I'm actually wearing that now. And I am in shade, where is it? 103 True Ivory. First thing you'll notice is a nice bright lid. I actually really like the packaging of this foundation. It's glass as well, which just makes it feel a bit more expensive. It claims to have an anti-fatigue effect and a radiant glow, and I 100% agree with that. I think it really, really does. Instantly makes you look more awake, and it does have sort of very light shimmer in it, but not where you can see it on your face or in the bottle even, like you can't even see it in the bottle. It's just very, very subtle, but I think that that really helps make you look more healthy and dewy. I'd say it has a medium coverage, but it is buildable, so if you weren't happy with, you know, one coat, you can always go on again and it does build up. Another thing that I really like about this, which is quite random, is that it smells really nice. It smells really fruity. I'm not going to sniff a foundation bottle, that's a bit strange. It smells really fruity, so it's kind of nice to put it on and just sniff. I find this foundation to actually be quite long lasting. I put it on in the morning and I'd say by about like 6 PM I'm thinking, oh gosh, I've still got my foundation on, I need to take that off. The only area on my face where it kind of disappears is my chin, because that's the oiliest part of my face. But that's it really, and I think that's only because it has quite a nice dewy effect. Because of its anti-fatigue and radiant glow, I don't know that I would advise anyone with really oily skin to buy this, purely because it does give you a glow on your skin, and if I find myself needing to powder my chin, which is the oiliest part of my face, which isn't even that oily, then you might not like this. I know that people with oily skin tend to want to wear a matte foundation to sort of combat the oiliness, or balance out even. It's not too dewy, it's a nice amount of dewy, but like I said, if you're the sort of person that tries to avoid that, I wouldn't go for this. It retails for £8.99 and that's in both Superdrug and Boots. Out of 5, I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5 because I actually really, really, really like this one. So the next one is from the brand 17, which is available in Boots. The shade I picked up in this foundation is Soft Ivory. Kind of cheap, plasticky, I dropped it. Sort of cheap plasticky packaging. Packaging doesn't rock my boat. Although one thing I do like about it is that as you pump up the foundation, this plastic thing goes up with it, so you can see how much you have left, which is slightly different to, say, this one, which is just in a glass bottle, which you don't really ever know when it's going to run out, and you probably won't get the product at the bottom, whereas with this you probably will. This one again is an anti-fatigue. I tend to go for anti-fatigue foundations because I know that they're going to make my skin look more awake. I definitely prefer to wear a dewy foundation because I always think that my skin looks a little bit lackluster and a bit dull, so anything to make it appear brighter, more healthy, then I'll go for it. This was £6.29, strange price, but that's how much it was, which is definitely the cheapest one out of all of the ones I'm reviewing. Actually, surprisingly very long lasting, and it does give me a dewy finish, and it has a very good coverage. I'd say it's medium coverage, but again, it's buildable. And this is actually very similar to my Studio Sculpt. It has the same sort of consistency, it gives me the same effect on the skin. It's probably not as long lasting as the other foundations I've just mentioned, but it works and it goes on nice and it blends really easily. And yeah, I didn't really have much of a problem with this. I actually kind of liked it. I guess it's probably the least dewy out of the two I've previously mentioned, and you could set it with powder and it would probably be fine. But yeah, I really, really liked that. So that's 17 Hide and Chic. The next one is another Bourjois one. It's the Bourjois 123 Perfect, and this one is supposed to correct any imperfecting pigments. So there's a pigment in here that corrects anti-dark circles, a yellow pigment, a mauve pigment for dull complexion, and a green pigment for anti-redness. I didn't notice that it did anything different from any other foundations in terms of sorting out those three things. It did have quite a good coverage, and it was quite matte, which is probably the reason that I didn't really like it. So if you do have oilier skins, this is a good one for you. It wasn't matte, like really matte, it was just a lot more matte than I'm used to. And like all Bourjois foundations, went kind of patchy on my skin after a while, like where my blusher was on top, where my bronzer was, it all sort of disconnected and looked a bit messy. But then that could be just because I'm not used to wearing this sort of foundation which has a lot more of a matte finish, and it possibly may have dried out my skin a little. So I don't really recommend this for dry skin at all, but if you are more on the oilier side, then I would definitely recommend giving that a go, because besides the fact that it didn't suit my skin, it did have a really good coverage and it went on nicely, and like all Bourjois foundations, nice colour range and easy to matte. I'm the shade Vanilla 52 in this one. The price for the Bourjois 123 Perfect is £10.99, and that's in both Boots and Superdrug. Because I didn't get on with this one as well as the others, I'm going to give that one a 1 out of 5. Last but not least is possibly my favourite find out of all the foundations, which is up there with the Rimmel Wake Me Up. And that is the MeMeMe Flawless Cream Foundation, which again is in a little pump. Oh, I'll just quickly say they all have a pump. Insightful. So, MeMeMe Flawless Foundation. I quite like the packaging. The only thing that kind of disappointed me was that it was plastic and not glass, because this was the most expensive out of all of them. MeMeMe is available in Superdrug, not Boots, and they don't have very many. I think there was 3 shades of this. Again, really difficult to find your shade, but I picked up Beige Blush, which was 02. And yeah, I would have liked for this to be glass, because then I think it would have just kind of justified the price slightly. I paid £12.50 for this. This is marketed as a cream foundation rather than a liquid foundation, which I think is why I love it so much, because it has a much thicker consistency, so that it's a lot more like my MAC Studio Sculpt. And in fact, this is probably the closest match I've ever found to MAC Studio Sculpt. It's so similar. Where it says Flawless Cream Foundation, I totally agree with that. The minute you buff this into your skin just looks flawless. It's a cliche, but it's true. It's so easy to blend. You aren't left trying to cover streaks or anything. It just goes in so quickly, so easily, and it does make your skin look flawless. Again, it leaves me with a nice dewy, healthy effect. I wouldn't say it's overly dewy, I'd say it's a nice medium. I would actually say that this foundation is good for all skin types. I don't see why it would ever feel any like greasy on the skin, because this one really doesn't. It's a nice medium, I think. This one also smells really nice. It smells kind of vanilla-y, like a very creamy vanilla-y smell, and I really like it. Bit strange that I'm saying what they smell like, but you have to put it on your face, so it has to smell okay. I just really like this. This was kind of like a hidden treasure, because I picked it up thinking, oh, didn't even know MeMeMe did foundations. But yeah, they do, and this one's actually really good, so I really like that, and I will be repurchasing this one when it runs out. I think I will give this one a 4 out of 5, because like the Rimmel Wake Me Up, I really like this, and those are the 2 out of all of them that I would definitely repurchase, so I'm glad that I found these and I now have them in my life. That sounds really sad because we're talking about foundations. I'm just pleased I found them, they're good. That is 5 of the foundations that I've tried and tested. I do actually have more that I want to review for you. I have 4 which I'm currently trying, and I will find another one to make it another 5, and then it will be 10 overall, so I'll do this in 2 parts. So technically you have just watched the first part, and if you enjoyed it, then let me know and I'll do the second part. If you really hated it, then I'm sure that you didn't even get this far, so that doesn't even matter. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Bye! This one a 5, not a 5. So this is marketed as a cream rather than a foundation. What? Some ideas. No, I won't.